speaking in the city square, trying to tell somebody that he cares. Can you blame the voice of youth for asking what is true? Yeah, the ones that you're calling wild are gonna be the leaders in a little while, when will the lonely voice of youth cry what is true? This our world's waking to a newborn babe, and I solemnly swear it'll be their way. You better help that voice of youth find what is true. And the lonely voice of youth cries, what is true?
Boom. Here we are. We've got the minion in the back this time because I don't know how to make these camera settings do the right thing. So might be the high def change. Someday we'll get that all worked out. In the meantime, I'm back. For one Friday only, because the next 2 Fridays I'm on the road. So there won't be any live streams for a little while, unfortunately. But today is all about care and what we care about and why we care about it, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I get a winner. I think I get a banger here tonight. But we'll find out. You're the audience. You get to sort of weigh in on that. So yeah, I mean, I've got my Sam Pell. I hope you also have a suitable beverage. We've got our Muppet Cup. Everybody should have one of these because you have to consider. You've got to consider. You got to consider that all the time, and it's full of Sam Powell. Because why not? And we've got our captain's mug today with some lovely chai tea, the Masala Mahala chai from Table Rock Tea Company, our favorite tea company. It's also local to South Carolina. And then we've got our skull mug. Some lovely Westminster. Also from Table Rock Tea. It's a double Table Rock Tea day today. So big day. Let's grab our favorite tome, even though it's not really a tome-like tome. Better Procrustes from Nassim Taleb. We'll turn to like a random location here. For Seneca, the Stoic age should withdraw from public efforts when unheeded and the state is corrupt beyond repair. It is wiser to wait for self-destruction. Sounds good to me. Withdrawing away, it's why all the talk of monasteries, to be honest. The Stoics are all like, hey, we just wait this out and watch the world burn and come back when it's done. Fair enough, I guess. Sounds surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I went to Symbolic World Summit number 2 in Cleveland, Ohio. And so I have lots of important insights. One of them is don't ever go to Cleveland ever. It's terrible. Like, what is with that place? It was unseasonably chilly, which does not bode well for me. Although it was a lovely top-down drive up there. I did over a day and a half up, and then I just came home in one day on the last day. And got sunburned very badly. So I did twice as much sun on the way up with the top down in one day, in both days actually, because I took a little detour to go visit my friend Ethan in North Carolina on my way up and drop off some seeds. And then I only did 4 hours because it was raining when I got in the car on the way back. And that last 4 hours of sun just completely destroyed me. So I don't know what's up with that. Vitamin K2. Take vitamin K2, you don't get sunburns. So I guess I didn't take any vitamin K2, which was probably stupid. So there you go. That's how it works. And yeah, it's been a busy time. I found well, I did some work on the Symbolic World Summit. I had AI summarize Cale Zeldin's talk because I was like, this can't just be me. And I think it missed a few things, but also AI did quite a good job. So if you're on the Micro Wisdom Discord server, Evil and Problems, I labeled it as a problem, although I'd be open to the other characterization as well. I put up the Google Doc that contains 3 tabs with the 3 responses that I got from my prompts, so that people can see what the assessment, I'm not putting up the talk or anything, right? Just what the assessment of the talk was. And I thought that the AI did a bang up job of explaining what was wrong with that talk and what was actually going on. And I was super impressed. And I used Google Gemini for it. I could have used, one or more of the others. I could feed them all the same prompt. It's a lot of work. I'm not here to test AI. It's AI does what it does. I did put out a video on my personal channel about AI not being compute or computer like. I haven't checked that. I wonder how well it's doing. I dumped it on there a day or two ago and have since been preparing for the big journey up to New England to my timeshare on Cape Cod. So, yeah, if you're up in New England, I will be in New England, although the odds of me leaving the Cape for any purpose other than to get there or to get home are very low. So I like Cape Cod. New England in the summer is a treat. It's a little early in the summer, but that's okay. It's at least summery most of the time. In fact, I've been really lucky with the Cape. I've only had like 2 times when I've been up there, 2 years, where the weather was bad for, more than half the time. And the rest of the time it was, completely delightful. So, the other years I wasn't using it. I had given it to friends. So so my friends got a bunch of crappy years up there, but not me. There you go. That's the secret right there. Let your friends have the crappy weather, and I don't know how that works, but it worked out for me, so I'm happy enough about it. All right, we're going to be talking about care, care, and at the end, if you want to ask me questions about the summit or whatever, I can do my best to answer them. Uh, but let's dive in to care because I think I have way more notes than I thought I would end up with, and I think they're great. I think they're great. So I'm just going to say care is focused attention that forms a quality relationship. That's going to be sort of the theme, if you will, of this particular way of understanding. And of course, uh, what is a quality of a relationship? It's a type of intimacy, right? And so the thing that forms intimacy, is 2 things, right? One has to be an active agent and a quality and a relationship, right? And so if you focus the attention on that, that's the care. All right, there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. So this word comes from the Old English, carrion or Sierrian. Uh, be anxious or solicitous, grieve, feel concern or interest, from the Proto-Germanic, caro, lament. Hence, grief, care, source also of Old Saxon caron, to lament, to care, to sorrow, complain. Old High German, charon, complain, lament. Gothic, charon, be anxious. Said to be from PEI root, gare, cry out. How does care come? Yeah, never mind. Germans are dumb. Cry out, call, scream. Right. And also it's the source of Irish gairm, shout, cry, call. See, garrulous. So that's from the etymology, which is interesting. I don't want to say it's super important or anything, but it's interesting. And so note that the origins here, right? Like I found them fascinating, and so should you. What can you glean from the fact that it's mostly, not entirely, but mostly negative about this word? Because I think there's an easy explanation. It's because the result of care is most often seen in the negative, and it's most clear in the negative, right? If you lose something you care about, everyone's going to know about it in many ways. And to care about something or someone is to have some form of attention directed positively or negatively, by the way. Um, and that's where what's the opposite of love? Indifference. It's not hate, it's indifference. Yeah. Three things. Notice the three. So specifically, if you care, then that thing moves you, right? As in causes you to move, to do something, to take some kind of action, right? And those things which we take action over or on behalf of, and maybe that action's just crying, right? Those are the things about which we care. And there is some nuance here that we'll, cover later. Um, but note also that this is clearly not merely objects, right? In terms of actions, but includes reactions, emotions, and interactions with the world. Do you care about the science if you never use it? If you never read a white paper? If you never engage in scientific experimentation? If you never talk to scientists directly, do you care about the science? If you never notice that the quote science or the scientific system or academia or whatever it is broken, if you never notice that, if you are involved in something corrupt, like maybe academia, do you apologize for not even noticing when it became corrupt? Or do you just go, oh, I see what's wrong and now I'm going to fix it? That's skipping a step. Are you sure you cared about it? Do you try to fix something without acknowledging it was wrong and you didn't notice? Did you care about it? Are you sure you cared about it? Are you sure you're not like skipping a step here? Are you just caught up in it and that's why you're trying to preserve it? That's why you want to fix it because you were caught up in it, not because you cared about it, because you were caught up in it. Maybe it's a pattern you were mimicking or something. Hmm. If something evokes an emotional response in you, then you care about it, right? Because there's an action there. The action might be crying or it might be anger or whatever, right? And that emotion may cause you to act other than just an expression correctly or incorrectly, right? But that's a different problem, right? So we'll move past that. But the response is what matters. And this is why they say hate is not the opposite of love, indifference is. Because you still care about something if you hate it because you're paying attention to it. Think about those three things. And again, notice three. This is important. This is important. Care in the implementation of the thing is what's important. In other words, something that you care about might cause you a feeling, right? And this is, by definition, all feelings are personal, private perspectives on the world. I can't adopt your feeling. I can mimic your feeling. I can mirror your feeling, but I can't adopt your feeling. You can't transfer your feeling to me. That's not a thing. And what you do about that feeling, that's the implementation, right? Is what matters to others. And that's really important, right? Because we're going to differentiate three things. Three. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all. Just integrate the feelings and struggle on. Most often, however, to care is something you must show to others through action in the world, which is more important than just your personal interaction, anger, crying, outburst, laughing, whatever. And if you aren't ready, willing, and able to act in the world, your degree of care may not matter to others because they don't have any access to it. They can't measure it, they can't see it, they can't think about it. It's not apparent, it doesn't exist in their world. If you hold it all in, nobody knows what's important to you. And after all, if it's just a burden that you bear alone, then they need not worry about it themselves, even if they could see it, which they can't. But if you're willing to take it on by yourself, then there's not much anybody can do. And there's not much anybody should do. These signals that you send matter a lot. And caring is one of those super important signals. And the thing is, there's a measure of severity of care, and people take advantage of that. Sometimes that backfires, sometimes it is the right answer. It all depends on the situation, and therefore, discernment, as always, that is the key. Discernment is the key. Should I act on my feelings of rage, or should I hold them in, count to 10, take a breath? The answer is not so clear. It's not always number two, right? Sometimes it's, yeah, you should act. If somebody pulls a knife on you in public, you should be enraged and you should do something about that. If you're able, and if you're not able, then maybe you hold in your fear or your rage or whatever. Maybe. Perhaps you mourn someone who died and move on because they're dead now. Or perhaps you go on a crusade to ensure that no other people die in the manner that the one that you cared about did. Think about John Walsh. John Walsh was a big deal because his son was beheaded by some evil monster killer, as I recall, and he became an activist, right? He would go on TV, he had a TV show, and he was helping the FBI to catch criminals, murderers in particular. And he cared about not only his son and the death of his son and how it happens, but about other people. He cared about them so much that he helped them, maybe directly, maybe indirectly, right? By cleaning up the world, like gathering these phone calls and tips from people who may have seen or knew something about a criminal. He gave them an outlet to participate in the manhunt. So he was going after the bad guys the best way he could because he was able to become a TV presenter and set all this stuff up. And it was his passion from his loss that drove him to do this. Now that's care. He cared about what happened. He cared about his son. And he didn't want it to happen to anyone else because he cared about everyone else. He moved his grief into a passion to protect people from bad people, which that's a good thing. Other times, a tragic accident like a car accident can happen and there's nothing for you to do except cry, mourn, and move onward. You still care. Maybe no less than Mr. Walsh. But perhaps there's nothing you can do. Lack of skill, lack of ability, those aren't the same thing. A lack of vision, right? A lack of energy, a lack of priority. A lot of people have other things to do. If you've got 10 kids and one gets killed in a car accident, maybe you don't go crusading against drunk drivers or whatever. Probably got 9 other kids to raise, you know? So, aside from mourning the loss, right? Beyond suffering this loss for yourself, by yourself, to heal yourself and move on for other people, because the world needs you, right? We can't have you grieving all the time. We need you. Maybe that's the right answer. It's all about discernment. So now, hopefully, I've differentiated 2 types of care, right? Or the point of the mediation of care, right? Your suffering and actions in the world. Let's look for the danger, right? There is a third thing here in terms of care, right? And this is the most common issue with care as such, particularly in the age of gnosis, where propositions represent the highest form of knowledge, which is the highest value, which is BS, by the way, complete nonsense, but that's the age in which we live. And to quote what is obviously the best science fiction show of all time, Blake Seven, I have never understood why it should be necessary to become irrational in order to prove that you care, or indeed, why it should be necessary to prove it at all. That was Avon, Kerr Avon, obviously. By far the best character in the show, right? But what does this say? You don't have to prove you care. It should be evident already in the actions up until that point. Right? And that's true in all cases. In other words, there's no reason to state to someone else that you care or what you care about. There's no reason. Ridiculous. It's insane. Care is a word that you should use to describe everything except yourself or your relationship to something. You should never use that word yourself. You should never have to. And I would argue if people can't see what you care about, telling them isn't going to help. And that brings us to the issue. People feel that they have to say they care. Either you care and it shows, you care and it doesn't show because you're hiding it, right? Which, again, that might be the appropriate action, right? I'm still mourning inside, but I have to take care of the people around me. Fair enough. Or there is no care present, irrespective of the words emitted from your pie hole. Okay? Care is a strange word. You cannot apply it to yourself and be taken seriously. Do not take this claim seriously from other people. Look at the fruits. Don't listen to the words. People will tell you they care about all kinds of things. But you shouldn't have to ask. It should be clear from whatever stories they tell you, perhaps, or from whatever things you see them interacting with in the world. It is reasonable to assume that somebody who works at an animal shelter cares about animals. And I don't think they would have to tell you that if you knew they worked at an animal shelter. And you can make this claim about caring with respect to other people, right? Oh, that person cares. And then link to actions in the world. Oh, they work at an animal hospital. They care about animals. Yeah, sure, that's fine, right? Or, you can ask somebody if they care, and that may be valid, right? But unfortunately, Jordan Peterson says, you don't know what you're up to. And so the fact that they tell you that they care about something when you ask, what do you care about? Uh, Probably not accurate because they don't know what they're up to. And it goes for you too. So asking them what they care about will very likely, in many cases, does get you a bunch of fantasy nonsense that they want to believe about themselves. And therefore, they're using your presence to convince you so that they can mirror that and believe it in themselves. Really, that's when most people tell you things that aren't true or lie to you. That's what they're doing. They're not lying to you. They're trying to lie to themselves. They need to get somebody else bought into the lie so that they themselves can believe it. That's super common. People often get, oh, that person lied to me. It's like, well, yeah, but they didn't care whether or not you know, they fooled you. They cared whether or not they could convince themselves it was true because they know it's not. That's that's the key. That's the key. And that's when you get ad hominem attacks and everything else, right? The ad hominem attacks are, why won't you agree with my lies so that I can convince myself that I'm not lying? World makes a lot more sense when you realize that. And the thing is, care, right? Not just from the actions that people take, but from their persistence in those actions, from the amount of time they spend enacting those actions, from how they approach situations, right? If someone's worried about hurting someone's feelings, the way they greet people is very different from somebody who maybe is less concerned about that or cares less about people's feelings. The way you understand it is from the perspective of care as revealing importance, relative importance, or preference. This is how you know how much people care, and by no other method. So you can say, oh, I care about making $1 million. But if you follow it up with, but I won't go work for a bank to make $1 million, then, well, you don't really care about making $1 million. You care about not working for a bank. At least care about that more. And that's fine if that's your choice. But also, I'm not going to believe you care about making $1 million. If you say, oh, I really care about helping other people, but then you don't actually help other people, I'm not going to believe you, right? I'm going to say, oh, this person doesn't really care about helping other people at all because that's evident in your actions. If you care about young men and, you offer them more college courses, I've got questions. I I I don't think so. I think you're selling them a product they think they want that's better than an existing product maybe. But do you care about them? I mean, are you willing to fight them for the betterment of their soul? That's the real question. Like, are you willing to go to battle for these people or not? And maybe for them is also battle with them because it definitely is. And the way you understand the caring is from the way in which they approach these things, how much time they're putting into these things, how they're interacting with these things. It doesn't matter what the things are because you can't just interact with something directly or someone directly. You're always in this sort of limbo where you're dancing with all these other things and making all these other decisions. And so the preference for your care is revealed in that. So, what does that mean? That means you have to calibrate your care. Do not let yourself be talked into what you care about because people will tell you, oh, you care about this and you care about that. It's like, wait, do I? And don't let them tell you how to care. Oh, well, if you care about this, you'll do this. It's like, wait, I will? Are you sure? And so don't let people do that. Don't let anyone tell you what you care about or how to properly care about something. Don't let people do that. You have to evaluate that stuff. You can't just take their word for it, right? And the person you want to listen to least of all about what you care about is yourself. Because you suck and you'll lie to yourself in a heartbeat. Use observation to find out what you're up to because you don't know what you're up to. The things you put in your time, energy, and attention towards are indicators of what you care about and how much you care about them. You have a limited amount of time, energy, attention. You can determine what people care about and how much they care simply by looking at where they're spending their time, energy, and attention. It's not hard. You have to make sure it isn't something like drugs, because a lot of people care about drugs, alcohol being a drug, more than they care about a bunch of other things. Or maybe they care about making themselves look good by making other people look bad. You can see that. That's called trolling in some cases. It's not the only type of trolling, but certainly that is a type of trolling, right? Looking smart. Yeah, sure. Oh, I know one obscure trivial fact about this thing, and therefore, haha, you don't. And what's this worth? Right. And maybe it's not a trivial thing. That's okay. But if it's a trivial thing, then who cares? Trying to make yourself look good. And that's the thing. This is a great opportunity to do something which I normally wouldn't tell you to do, uh, which is some actual self help. You can write down what you've done all day, where you've been spending your time, and you can ask other people where they see you spending your time, right? And see if it matches the image of yourself. We'll call that image of yourself your residual self image, because The Matrix is a narcissistic scumbag movie. See my Matrix live stream. It was wonderful. And of course, you can do this with others. You can look at where they're spending their time and determine what they care about. You don't need to ask them. And before anybody asks, these are the fruits that certain people keep talking about in certain circles. These are the fruits. So, the thing to really take away from this care topic is that life is about three things: time, energy, and attention. That's what makes up your interaction with life. It's easy to put your time, energy, and attention towards trivia, things that don't matter, that aren't connected in the world. They're in the margins, they're exceptions. They're fun, they can be amusing, but they're not knowledge. The stuff you read in a book is trivia, unless and until you have some interaction with it. That interaction can't be purely in your head. Maybe there's one or two exceptions to this, but primarily, nah. It's amazing how many people don't understand that reading a book doesn't impart knowledge. And their sort of memory for trivial facts does not signify intelligence. Quite the opposite, I would argue. And so the real question is, what are we to do about care? As I've hopefully successfully outlined, I think it's pretty straightforward. As long as you're measuring outcomes, things that you can see, you can experience, you can interact with, you will understand what people care about and how much they care about those things pretty easily. Just simple observation does the trick here. When you reduce it to words, you're just going to get something wrong. Oh, I really care about helping people. Well, but you just walked past that homeless person. You've never even dug a well in Africa. What do you mean you like helping people? What are you talking about? And you can observe yourself. You can keep track. What did I do today? Oh, wow. I must really be bored because I played a lot of video games. Oh, huh. Wow. I must be a drug addict because I snorted coke all weekend. I mean, these things happen, right? And we don't see ourselves clearly because we're not even looking at ourselves. We're usually just looking out at the world from our personal, private perspective and drawing all kinds of wacky conclusions because we don't care about the world. We care about ourselves. We care about our feelings. We're not caring about what's in the world, how other people interact with we're not even paying attention to that. And you see that, especially on the internet. Everything's worse on the internet because the internet is a lens for bad behavior. It encourages it because it separates people, right? Your relationships are limited, and therefore it's easier to abuse those relationships. So yeah, you may be able to reach more people, but most of the people you reach are going to be either of the type that are bad, uh, or the type that think they can help bad people with propositions, which is very suspect. Propositions can be wielded correctly and carefully by really good practitioners, but most people can't do that. And most of the people doing it are terrible at it. Terrible. I would point to Cal Zeldin's talk at the Symbolic World if you saw it as a terrible pointing. Just absolutely horrific. And the AI saw it, so I feel vindicated. Yeah, that link's on the Mark of Wisdom Discord server if you want to check it out. It should be open to everybody with the link. Um, the way to understand caring is to put it in the simple frame of it's what you spend your focus, time, energy, and attention on. Then you can see what other people are caring about. And one book that was super helpful for this is was it the 5 love languages, 7 love languages, 5, 7, I don't know. One of those numbers. Dyslexia is terrible. Um, the love languages book is great because it sort of shows you, oh, well, this person, when they do this, that's their expression of their love for you. Right. And then, you can kind of learn about yourself too. Like, oh, well, I really like giving gifts. And so that's a different expression of love. Uh, oh, thanks, Chris, for 5 love languages. I thought it was 5, but then 7 popped into my head because my brain hates me. So, um, when you understand that there's different ways of expressing the same thing, like care, which is usually what people are talking about when they use the word love anyway. They're describing care and calling it love. And fair enough, love is it's a difficult word, man. It sucks. It's a terrible, terrible way to try to communicate. Um, once you realize there's different ways to express care, and you need to drop it into a reasonable framework, time, energy, attention works great. Focus, time, energy, and attention. Bang. And the focus part is always tricky. Some people focus better than others. And if you're unfocused and you care about too many things, you'll just make a mess of the world. And some people, that's their problem. If they had a little bit better focus or discipline or whatever, they'd be fine. And that's the issue. I don't think people have a framework for understanding care. What they're doing is they're relying on people to tell them or for their own inference to work it out. But it's not an inferential issue. Your inference capabilities are insufficient to work out what someone else cares about or what you care about. They're just not good enough. And that's because you have a filter on called your personal private perspective, and it's unique to you. And that's part of the things that make you unique, thank goodness. But also, I mean, there's some limits there. And if you don't understand how to look at the world and see what people care about and who people care about, then you're going to run into a problem. If you've ever wondered, hey, that person knew they were going to get a divorce, and then the couple got a divorce, they predicted correctly, or that person knew that this relationship was unbreakable, and then it just turned out that it was. Well, they just see something slightly different in the world. They see where the time, energy, and attention goes, and they infer care, and they can fairly accurately measure it and make reasonable predictions about human behavior based on that. You can't do that with economics, but you can do that when you pay attention to time, energy, and attention in other people. So it's sort of a superpower. Like, I'm a fan. You have to use it carefully, of course, but you can. And that's a reasonable thing to do. So once you adopt that framework, and most of my other frameworks, the world is just going to be way easier to think about and way more clear for you. Now, that's not going to tell you necessarily what you should or need to do in the world, but you know what? One step at a time. First, see the world more clearly, right? And be able to make better predictions about what's happening around you, and then worry about what you have to do, right? In other words, find your place in the world so you're no longer in domicile, and then act. Clean your room, then clean a room outside your room, then clean up the neighborhood, etc., etc. And hopefully you'll be so busy doing that that you won't critique the world, as Jordan Peterson warns against. And that would be better. That would be much better. So, as Ixnon points out, battling for is also battling with, opponent processing for the loss. Yes. You are insufficient, distributed cognition for the win. Yes. Yes. And look, I mean, you can't necessarily see clearly what people are putting their time, energy, and attention to. And so you should ask other people what they see. I mean, that's where propositions are good, for getting other people's opinions and maybe fragments of their personal private perspective to add to your own, but you have to do that with some form of humility. And then maybe you can understand what's motivating people and why they're doing what they're doing and what they're going to do next. It's easy to see a selfish person and know that they're going to throw their partner under the bus the first chance they get, right? Everyone's upset about narcissism. Like, why are you upset about narcissists? Narcissists are easy to spot. Well, not for most people, apparently. Unbeknownst to me, I always thought, like, well, that's obviously a narcissist. Hello. But, and it's not always clear. I mean, sometimes we run into people and we think they're narcissists and they're just aloof. They're not. They have no malicious intent whatsoever. They just aren't paying attention. And those things are hard to discern for sure, especially when you don't have a track history of looking at them and watching them, etc. So that's the key. That's what you have to pay attention to find where care is. And keep a journal. Figure out what you care about. What are you spending all your time on? And what are you spending all your energy on? And where are you putting all of your attention during the day? Do you know? Ask other people. Maybe they'll tell you, right? Maybe they'll go, "Oh, you spend an awful lot of time in the garden. You must like gardening." Maybe that's super important to you. That's the best way to figure it out. All right. Hopefully people found that helpful. In either case, if you'd like to join me and hopefully stick to the topic of care or the Symbolic World Summit, I'm happy to talk about that, jump on in. Or come into the live stream and live stream away a question on navigating patterns. The 5-year-old YouTube channel. I can't believe it's 5 years old now. So many videos. Oh my goodness. Got to do another round of I got to fix the the little AI we built because it's a little bit broken. But Christopher,
Hello.
hello, how are you doing?
I am doing all right.
What you got for me?
Oh, I don't know. I just care a little bit about you not being alone on the live stream all night. So,
Obviously, I can observe that. You didn't even need to say it. It was already clear to me.
yeah, yeah.
What'd you think of the monologue? You get a rating for me? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I'll give that an A. Yeah.
Oh, all right, good. Good. I like that idea. I figured you of all people would have questions about Symbolic World Summit, but if you don't, that's fine. I figured you might be the
Well,
most
some more.
curious.
Well, I mean, I watch the talks online. Any questions I have would be about other stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
But
that's what I meant because I was there
yeah,
and you weren't.
how
You
was that
you
dancing
paid
thing?
for you paid
Yeah,
for live tickets, you fool. I got them for free.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
How was that like dancing thing at the lunch?
It was interesting. There weren't as many people dancing as I thought there would be, but look, the lunchroom, for the most part, maybe I'll hurt a little feelings here, but it looked a lot like a cleaned up and showered version of a gaming room in a gaming store.
Mm,
Like these were not the kind of people that were going to get up and dance for the most part. And you just knew that. Like, you already knew that, right? There was a
mhm.
lot of, social awkwardness. One of the nice things
Right.
you must have heard it, right? I think it was Jonathan that said, like, "Oh, get up. Everyone's got a story. Go ask them their stories,"
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. I've heard.
As a
Yeah,
right,
people
as
said.
a way to encourage the antisocial,
Mhm.
gamer people, uh, for lack of a bet I mean, they weren't gamer people, but also they were they were not the most,
Yeah.
socially adept human beings,
What kind
in
of
the
dancing did they have? Was it?
I mean, they were not doing any specific type of dancing that I could discern, but I'm not a danceologist, so,
I see.
um, yeah, mostly the
What
young
we
girls
need.
were dancing, and then
Yeah.
other people joined in. That's usually how these things.
What you need is they need to do they have it at the Ren Fair up here every year, the peasant dancing that they round up people
Mm.
for and do like a few simple dance things they get
Yeah, I
people
mean,
into.
I
But
would've preferred more, sort of things that were designed to get people involved.
mhm.
Um, I bet at the next one they'll come up with something like that. I mean, that's something I could suggest since I seem to know everybody there now. So, no, almost all the people behind the scenes, and it's crazy. I'm like, how do I
Nice,
know all
yeah,
these people? Yeah, it's kinda cool. So, yeah, I mean, I've got some ideas. I gotta come and see me in a year about your book, kid, from Roland, so I'm freaking
nice, yeah,
through the moon. 'Cause you've heard the announcement, they're doing another press. That's
yeah,
their
yeah,
solution to being
definitely.
burnt out from the first one.
Right, yeah,
That was hysterical.
hmm
Um, so, yeah, if they need a book, I have a book, call me. Uh, no, I get to bug Roland in about a year, so I will probably do that. If not
yeah,
sooner.
yeah. That'll be cool.
He's subscribed to the channel now, so got him.
Good, good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, and we
subscribed to the channel.
might even have a board game for him. So
Oh,
or
yeah,
a
that's
card
right.
game.
That's right.
Yeah.
The board game is, coming soon. Yeah, we'll have to
Mhm.
work on the story card version next. We'll
Mhm.
have to do that next. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, we've already have an outline for it. I need to spend a bunch of time with it, and I think Gustav's is super busy now that he's off doing what he's doing, which is
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful news for him. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know how much I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen with that because that was Gustav's was the one who was like, "Oh, we should do this," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, we can do this," and then I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"How do I do this?" Because I don't know. It's like, never thought about that before. Now I gotta, like, think, and yeah, and then because I was in Arizona, and then I was in Cleveland, and boy, 2 places couldn't be any more different. And now I'm gonna be in the Cape, in a week. 1 week from now, I will be sitting in my jacuzzi tub probably, looking out over Martha's Vineyard. So, that week
Nice, nice.
is going to be interesting. I actually usually when I'm on the Cape, I get work done. Just because I'm much more relaxed. It's a different environment, and if there's any kind of bad weather, we're stuck inside. So, I'll just bang away on the computer and do stuff. But it all depends on what's happening. You never know. I mean, if we have good weather and we have energy, then we'll run around town and do things. I wanna get to Nantucket. I haven't been to Nantucket. All these years, I've never been to Nantucket. I've been to Martha's Vineyard a bunch of times. Never been to Nantucket. Gotta get to Nantucket because now I know there's a whaling museum there. I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
no, no, no. We went to New Bedford. Now we gotta go to Nantucket. We gotta see it, right? We've got to experience Moby Dick." Um, that don't even get me started. I keep thinking about I did all the work today to get the AI and Kale's talk, and I was just like, what happened?
Yeah,
This talk is a disaster. And everyone's like, Kale's talk was amazing. And I'm like, I asked the AI and it answered. So
yeah,
now I
yeah.
know
I read the first page of that there, and it does tell you like at the bottom why
the bottom
everybody
summary,
liked it. Yeah, yeah.
the 3-line summary was just like
Mhm.
hell and damnation. Like, wow. Like, even I wouldn't say that. Even I would, and I didn't prompt that thing at all. I didn't put in any of those terms, none of them. I just said, evaluate this and critique it and look for contradictions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was shocked that it said what it said. I was just like blown away. And Google Gemini usually doesn't do that. It's one of the nicer AIs typically, but and I didn't tell it to act as a critic or like I didn't hyper prompt it or meta
Right.
prompt
Yeah,
it
yeah.
or anything crazy. I just said, take this transcript and tell I had to do a crap load of work on the transcript because getting the transcript was a pain. I had to cut out some music and I had to run some whisper and then
Oh yeah,
cut
yeah,
out
yeah.
characters. It was a complete catastrophe.
Yeah, it
But
sounds like it would be.
yeah, yeah. Once I figured out, oh, there's a bunch of music in here that it's it looks fine on the transcript, but for some reason, I don't know if the timestamps were bad too. It got all confused and it was cutting off the talk, and I was like, well, what the hell happened here? So
Yeah,
once I
I
took
don't
the
know.
music out and retranscribed it, it worked fine. But yeah, I got to go back through the transcript and read about because he made a bunch of claims about Moby Dick that I'm positive aren't true. Like they're just false. And I'm like, these are the things you're saying are important. This is your book, boy. And those important things aren't in that book. Now what? Because I mean, it's just confusing. Like I don't know what he's saying. When people do that, I just don't know what they're talking about. I'm like,
Mhm.
you might have a point, but like I can't tell. Like I don't know. So because what you're saying is contradictory. You're contradicting yourself. And when people contradict themselves, it's like it makes it very hard to judge. I mean, they could be right. How do I know though? Like I can't follow this contradiction stuff.
Right. I mean,
I gotta do Richard's talk. I want to do his talk in my speak
mhm.
as a
Yeah, yeah, that one.
yeah. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. And I gotta cut out the, Lauren Southern talk that I did with Jesse,
Oh yeah,
whatever live stream that was. I found it. I have it.
cool, cool.
The AI to the rescue. That freaking AI is when it works, it's awesome. It doesn't always work, but when it works, freaking 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal. If you need to find clips, it's just right there. It'll find you the stuff.
Mhm.
Actually, I should have it go through once per day and just find clips from videos. Because I think with a prompt, I can add that feature in and have my own clip thing, and I
Oh
found
yeah,
a
that
bunch
would be
more free AIs that I had access to that I didn't realize. I was like, "Oh, I didn't."
interesting. Yeah.
Well, it pays to be on the developer forums and things for everything because
Right. Yeah.
still a developer, so now I'm more of a developer than I have been in a lot in years because AI, you just whip up a few prompts and actually I don't do that. I write architectures and then point it at the architecture files because I know what's gonna happen if I don't. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I always have architecture files. But yeah, I can build all kinds of tools and it works great. So I might build some. Maybe I could build something to my local transcriber tool and fix a bunch of things. And I had 3 days of multi-hour internet outages in a row.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Has it been
"What
better
is
today or
It's been fine today."
cool?
And then they sent me on day 4, they sent me a survey. I'm like, "Are you people dumb? You're not doing well in this survey. What are you, high?" I mean, to be fair, I think there were 2 multi-hour internet outages before this. So we're talking in 10 years, I had 2. Until this week, I had 3 in a row. And they were all more than 4 hours. Like, one of them
Wow,
was
yeah.
11 hours. 11 hours without internet, which
Mhm.
which normally wouldn't be a problem, except you know what doesn't work? My TV. Because
Yeah, yeah. That's
everything's tied to the stupid internet, even though I have a box hooked up to my
yeah,
antenna.
yeah. That's
It doesn't work without the internet. And I'm like, "Who wrote this
mhm.
software? Bring them to me. I shall
Yeah,
beat them
yeah.
senseless. Why would you make this? This does not need the internet at all. It's
Mhm.
in my house. It sits on my network and on an antenna up on my chimney that I had mounted for this
Mhm.
reason, so I didn't have to rely on this nonsense. And all you're doing
Yep.
is telling me that that doesn't work. Thanks a lot.
Mhm.
That's phenomenal. Like, why do I have
Yeah,
this junk? Oh, I'm so pissed off.
exactly.
And in theory, I could like, DVR and stuff with it, but I never remember to. And there's so little good TV out there in the world,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
except for like cartoon and the West. They've got all the westerns now, so that's cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Almost every market that I've been to, like in hotels and stuff, they all have the Western channels local, like Me TV and what's it
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Wild West or something. They've got a bunch of those that's all they
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Good
Mhm.
stuff. Because you can watch The Rifleman. Rifleman is great with Chuck Connors. Yeah, that's great.
Mm. Okay, yeah.
Bonanza, another good show. Good and wholesome.
Mhm.
What did we
Mm.
watch? Oh, I found Voyagers. Have you heard of
Oh,
Voyagers?
I have not seen that one actually.
Yeah, it's another obscure, super obscure 80s attempt to get people into history. But it totally
Okay,
works.
yeah.
Totally works. Love Voyagers. Yeah, I showed it to Sarah. She's like, "I've never seen this." I'm like, "How did you survive as a child? I don't understand." She's like, "I was 3 when it came out." I'm like, "I don't care. It means nothing to me. You need to watch these important shows." Oh, you'll like this. Somebody asked me what Casablanca was about. My brain nearly seized up immediately. I was like, "I don't understand the question." So, I was like, "Oh, well, it's actually about quite a lot of things,
Yeah.
if you ask it." I mean, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I was like, "You can't answer a question like that's a dumb question. Like, how am I supposed to answer this question?" It's about everything, really. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a couple things it's not about, but, like, I could list those easier than I could list all the things it's about.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And then I was thinking, if you compare Casablanca and Key Largo, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because if you look at it in fractal pattern, it's like, oh, it's exact same movie, exactly the same film, right? It's just one layer down and less history, but it's the
Yeah.
same World War II backdrop, right? It's the same love story type thing. It's the
Mhm.
same turning into a man, right? From a mercenary, basically, right? It's the same maturity progression. Yeah, a bunch of it's the same, and I hadn't thought of that until he asked me about Casablanca, and then, of course, Casablanca, The Maltese Falcon, and Key Largo are all just awesome, right? And then
Mhm.
I realized I have to go back and watch, Citizen Kane at least 17 billion more times because that movie's packed. It's so interesting because I still suspect, though, that the reason why people think it's so good is because they're wealthy and not because like, everybody can relate to Casablanca. I don't think
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
can relate to Citizen Kane.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But I don't know. I got to watch it at least one more time and sort of figure out, because it's always possible, because these inversions happen where Christmas Carol does this, right? Where you've got the wealthy guy and the flaws are so well contrasted that you empathize with the bad guy in essence, right? You empathize with the person who's like really flawed. And then you start to understand how those flaws affected them. And then those flaws, well, in the case of Christmas Carol, they get removed, right? But those flaws can be mitigated or redeemed or removed or continue, right? But because you can
Mhm.
relate to the character, because it makes that upper echelon, that elite echelon character relatable in a way, the movie's really good. Because the thing that makes a good movie to a large crowd is exactly that. You know, whereas if you watch like Breakfast at Tiffany's, which I've seen like 3 times, like that's just a degenerate wealthy person movie. That's all it is. It's very niche actually. Um, and like you have to pay attention to the opening of the movie because it's like, oh, wait a minute, how did this movie open? Oh, wow, okay, that's well, that was not, because it's real subtle. It's really, really subtle. It's because it's only one scene in the beginning, I think, and I mean, maybe it
Mhm.
gets referenced once more in the movie, but yeah, it's really subtle. And then you don't
Yeah,
really
right.
understand what's going on the first time you watch it because it's such a complex story in essence. And it's a good ride. You want enchantment. I mean, the Breakfast at Tiffany's is an enchantment movie.
That makes sense, yeah. The setup stuff like that is most people miss stuff like that, how
Well,
important that is.
they get
So,
caught up in the framing, which is weird. Like you would think that people, in the postmodernism would be all over reinterpreting and paying attention to framing. But I think what happens is they can't. Most people can't.
well, yeah,
And
that's probably true, yeah.
yeah, and so what they do is they only reframe the things that they can reframe,
Mhm.
right? Or they think they can reframe. And if you
Right,
want to
yeah,
enjoy a wealthy person movie and relate to it, you're not going to pay any attention to the framing of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
mhm.
It's never gonna occur to you to pay attention to that framing. You're just gonna go along with it because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're there to agree, and you do, and you want to be those people until you realize what the hell's happening, and then I hope you would not wanna identify with anybody in that movie.
yeah,
Holy
yeah, yeah.
catastrophe. Like, what is happening here?
Well, yeah, you can't reframe something that you don't pay attention to.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, well said,
and
well said. Yeah, and so I think, the nice thing about Symbolic World Summit was that deliberate attempt to get people to cooperate. Now, I was hanging out with somebody that I knew from Father Eric's channel and from Twitter, although I didn't know because he has 2 different handles. I didn't know they were the
oh,
same
yeah, yeah,
person.
yeah.
Yeah,
You had mentioned that, yeah.
yeah, so he told me who he was and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And, we were just chatting it up, and some young kid jumps in and says, "Hi, I'm so and so. What's your story?" And I was just like so offended. I was like, "I don't have a story." I was like, "I'm shutting this down right now. This is not the way to do that interaction at all." And now I'm annoyed.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, it was very aggressive. And I'm like, "Well, it's fine if you wanna be aggressive, but like, no, you went about this the entirely wrong way, and now I'm just pissed off." And also,
Mhm.
like, what do you mean my story? Like, holy cat, do you have any idea how many stories I have? I don't even know how many stories I couldn't count my stories. My stories come out as appropriate when I remember them due to circumstances. Like,
Right,
I
yeah.
can't do that trick. That's a magic trick from my perspective. What do you mean your story? What do you even if you ask me like, "Do you have a story about a time when you felt, whatever?" I would be like, "I don't think so." Like, I mean, I'm sure I do somewhere, but I don't know how to get at that information with that index. I don't index stuff that way at all. Like, I don't. What are you talking about? And I think that's what people are doing with propositions. They're enchanting themselves because they're memorizing things the wrong way and they're indexing all their data the wrong way. And then it just
Oh yeah.
like, yeah, they're like, oh, well, I remember the time in my life when I fell in love. And it's like, what? I like, maybe you remember the first person you fell in love with, but when was the first time you fell in love for real? Because those aren't always, sometimes they're the same thing, but they're not always the same thing. Right.
Mhm.
And then it's worse, right? When was the first time, and this doesn't happen to everybody, which is just sad, that you fell in love with somebody who loved you just as much or more? Oh, that's a much more interesting question. Right. Now you see things like that I could think about and come up with. But the first time you fell in love, like, oh, that's a really ambiguous thing to me. Like, I don't know which time you're talking about here because, like, it depends on what you want to know about falling in love,
Mhm.
right? Like, do you just want to know, like, the first time? Because that was obviously Rachel Scott in what would that have been? Fifth grade, maybe?
Oh, okay.
I think it would have been fifth grade. No, it would have been sixth grade, something like that. One of those two grades at the Rogers School in Lowell because she was blonde and blue-eyed and absolutely perfect, and remains so to this day, oddly enough. I don't know. Oh, it's magic, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I danced the minuet with her, and I'm pretty sure the teacher had something to do with that. So that was one of those rare times in my life where I was, like, late or something to school, which is like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, even when I think about it, I'm like, "That's not possible. You're never late for anything." Like, what do you mean you're always early, right? But I was late or something, and I get to the classroom and it's empty. And I'm like, "What the hell is happening?" Like, I don't and maybe they told me, "Oh, no, we're meeting in the gym," or whatever that I think it was the gym. And then the teacher had sent Rachel up to get me. That I remember. And then that's what we were doing that day was we were learning the minuet in high school
Right.
or
Yeah.
junior high rather, or,
Mhm.
grammar school, I guess. Yeah, it was pre-junior high. So yeah. So this is why I tell people, no, 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 I'm fairly sure it's the loss of gym, recess, art and music and religion in schools that cause
Mhm.
the problem because I don't have these problems. I had all of those things in
Yeah, yeah,
spades.
yeah.
Yeah, I had all of them because that school, the Rogers School in Lowell at the time was a magnet school. And the reason why I was going to a magnet school was because, um, well, they thought I had, quote, learning difficulties, which is just looking back, it's hysterical. The only difficulty I have learning is the rest of y'all move too slow for my ass, and, I pick up on things real fast, and, oh, the rest of you creatures, whatever you call yourselves, humans or something, um, it's so slow that it's not the same thing. Like, I don't even know. I don't understand why things aren't a lot quicker for y'all. I feel bad, but also alien confirmed. I'm definitely not like you guys. Like, I soak up information at a ridiculous rate. So what happened was, my father wanted me to learn computers way back then,
Mhm.
right? It's the 80s, it's the heyday. Um, and like I had two computers at home already, but they had computer programming course in grammar school. And it was there were only three schools, I think, in Lowell or four or something. I don't remember. It was way back before time stuff, obviously. And the Rogers School was the closest one. And Rogers School was not the school to go to. It was in downtown. We lived on the outskirts in the suburbs where it was nice. There were a lot of ethnicities there because Lowell was the most ethnically diverse city in the country. Probably still is, but I don't know. Because we had Laotians and we had people from all the Spanish speaking countries, basically. And we had, the Greeks and the Italians and the Polish and the French Canadians and the Irish and on, and like all of them.
Mhm.
We had everything. We had absolutely everything for historical reasons. And so it was a rough school. There were knives at the school. There was one kid in the class who was 3 years too old to be there and had been held back. And the Spanish swear words I learned and other words. which some of which I still unfortunately remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, they're not the sort of words you ever want to use. Yeah, it was a complete and utter nightmare. Also, I learned a lot. Like it was great. And also, they didn't just teach computers; they taught music, and they made you dance the minuet and taught you how to dance the
Mhm.
minuet and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is and that was tied up in manners because there's this whole set of manners around dancing. And there's a
Mhm.
whole protocol there. I was like, "Oh, right." And so that's why I understand the importance of these things, even if, they seem to be annoying to people or something. And so, what do we need these manners for anyway? Why be polite? And it's like, well, let me show you how much better the world can be.
Mhm.
So, yeah, yeah. Beautiful girl. I still have a picture of her somewhere in the photo album.
Yeah, yeah. That goes into manners, goes into hospitality and chivalry, and
I have a live stream on hospitality, and I have a video on chivalry. Look at that.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we got all the bases covered. And, we're doing one on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
On subversion.
Yes.
You're gonna tease that a little bit for the folks at home?
Yeah, I think we will actually talk about subversion and not just subvert the subversion talk by talking about something completely different,
Who
which
would do that? Like, I mean, I wouldn't do that if I did a video on the Matrix or something. Oh, never mind. Ignore me.
but yeah,
No, that'll be good. 10 a.m. Eastern time, Tuesday.
yes, that is the plan.
I will get that all scheduled at some point. And I think no, we don't have a thumbnail yet. We'll have a
You don't have
thumbnail
a thumbnail
soon.
yet?
I don't think so. I might be misremembering, but today was a hell of a day. Sarah fooled me. I went to take a shower and then I went out to find her and I'm like, "Where's my thumbnail for my live stream?" And she's like, "I sent it to you." And I'm like, "When?" She's like, "While you were in the shower." I'm like, "So you were outside gardening, you came in, finished the thumbnail, and then went back outside while I was showering. Like, what is this? What is this mystical nonsense? You can't do that to me." Because I didn't run back to the computer and check. Like, why would I do that? She's been outside gardening the
Right,
whole
right.
time,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously. Yeah, best laid plans of mice and men.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if
So,
you need an image for it, you could just do like someone flipping a board game over. That would be a good image if
oh, I
we need
like
help
that.
with that.
Someone
But
flipping a board game over, yeah, with all the
mhm.
pieces. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, we could do that. No, that'll be a fun talk. Um, yep, I'll be totally unprepared. I really wanna do a whole thing on a, like, live sense making thing, but
Mm.
I was kinda hoping I could rope Boyce into it. That would be really fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would be good.
Where he would just come up with the topics that he was puzzled about, and I'd just throw him in the framework and say, "Yeah, that's what's going on." And he'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, well, but what about this, and what about that?" And I could just bat them all away because framework
Right,
works.
because Boyce is
Framework ain't
really good at
wrong.
the conversation thing. So
Yeah, I mean, it would be good from that perspective to get him out of conversations. I mean, you'd still do them obviously, but if that's all you're doing, what are you really doing, right? Because at some point,
yeah.
I mean, it's great to introduce people to other people and all that. That's wonderful, but also, like at some point, what are we doing? Like, what are we affecting?
Mhm.
So, and I like that Symbolic World Summit's kind of on this to some extent, and they're like, oh yeah, we need to get people interacting, and blah blah blah. And then I'm working on the Jordan Peterson meetup protocol.
Ah, yes,
So we're gonna get that done. I need to do a
that'll
little
be
more
good.
work because the AI completely betrayed me. Um, so I need to figure out what to do about that because I don't have a good way off the top of my head to fix that.
Mm.
So I might grab the books and figure out from and then go back to maps of meaning and use justifications from maps of meaning because I don't want to just discuss the 24 rules for life and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Jordan, where are the rest, by the way? We who wrestle with God was a nightmare, sir, and you need to fix that and continue back on your old path with 12 more rules for life or something. Like, what do we got off track here? Jordan, like, hop, let's go. What do we, you stop being sick? Let's get on this.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah, that was real. We wrestled, I couldn't even finish it. Like, I could barely start it. It was so bad. I was like, what are you doing? Like, please stop. Please stop this. Yeah, and I found out, which I found fascinating, and I was quite honored. Jordan Hall has watched 20 of my videos. It's like, really? 20?
nice. Yeah, yeah.
Commitment. So I was happy about that. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So he's another one. See, we could totally do that, right? Get him.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you got him to do that, he could be good.
What about this in the world? And then and then he'd just argue the hell out of me with abstract terms until I beat him down to earth with non-abstract terms, because that's what we need, people to be less abstract. That's what we need.
Was there anything else interesting at Symbolic World other than the dancing and stuff?
Oh, I mean, Nicholas Kotar's storytelling was.
Well, yeah, that was awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. It's sort of like a one-man play, right? With music and everything. I thought he did just a fantastic. I like made it my mission to say thank you to him on his way out. I like snagged him as he was going to the car to leave, and I was like, no, you don't understand. This is my mission, is to say thank you for this and to tell you other people saw it the same way, that this is the best part of the summit. I mean, a lot of the background stuff was just meeting outside, and like, so Richard Rowland was not hanging out in the VIP tent with the VIPs. He was hanging out with the people who smoke, and they all had the pipes out and stuff,
right?
Which is where I got to confront him a couple of times, and he was like in the hallway once, and just in the hallway to the lunchroom, getting mobbed. You know, not really mobbed, but you know, getting people asking him questions and stuff. And he was super accessible. He's, of course, he's super nice, and you know, he had, for me, he probably had the most concise and accurate talk at the summit. Heather Pollington's was the most interesting, and I have to go back through Jonathan Peugeot's and just verify. I mean, I'm 100% positive what I heard because I was paying close attention, but I want to verify his framing for what he was trying to say about postmodernism, that he admitted is not part of postmodernism. It's a side effect. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, sure. There's always side of. I mean, this is where people get confused. What if one person was saved by? And I'm like, that's not how this works. Like, that's not. Like, this is the program you guys have been running for 300 or 400 years or 500 years now. The results are terrible. Like, let's stop with that program. Let's try a better program where we actually aim for real numbers instead of saying we saved one person. Like, I don't care.
Right,
one person's gonna get saved by tripping and falling on the ground. This is not an interesting metric to me. Like, come on, we gotta have some real numbers. Like, we gotta be able to show some real results. And that's and when people think it's just storytelling, and then they hear some word salad like Cale Zeldin spit out, and they go, that's amazing. I'm like, you guys are all lost. You're not going to be helping people. You're all screwed up. That was not amazing. That was full of contradictions and crazy talk. The AI picked it out right away. Like, oh, the one story he mentioned is not an epic. And I'm like, yeah, well, pretty much. And he said that. And I was like, are you just not self-aware at all? Like, do you?
Yeah, the postmodern thing is like, it seems to be like a reaction to like the flaws of whatever people mean by modernism, which is usually just materialism.
Yeah.
And
right. It's a misidentification. And they don't really realize the term postmodern can't mean anything. Twice as much as modern doesn't mean anything. And they think I'm like, it's worse. It's worse than saying modern, because you're saying those things which are past modern, which is again impossible. Like these are impossible terms. You're just bending the poor language over and doing nasty things to it for no reason other than to be sadistic. Like, why are you doing this to the poor English language? What did it ever do to you?
Well, if you go back to like the postmodern writers, they're just trying to justify their own degeneracy. So that's
well, and make up for the fact that they're poor authors. They're just what they're trying. They're bad at what they're trying to do, and that's why they're all lit crit people, right? Those who can do and those who can't teach or critique. That's just the way the world is, and I get it, and that doesn't mean critique is necessarily bad, but people listen to René Girard. René Girard was running critique on the Bible. Like, it's got to be a non-starter for you guys. It has to be. That's your book, bro. Like, take it seriously. Like, you can't critique the Bible. You're a moron. Like, you just can't. Like, I don't even understand what that would mean. Like, why would you listen to anyone that arrogant? I'm critiquing the Bible. You know what's wrong with this book? There's a better thing, Christopher. I don't know if you saw it in Girard. Because it's something I point to every once in a while, but I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. But I point to it every once in a while about this problem of who we mimic, and zero people get it. And I'm like, this is the easiest thing in the world for you guys to figure out if you actually read the Bible once ever, right? Just one Bible, doesn't matter which one, once ever. You wouldn't even read the whole thing, just the beginning. First few chapters will do. Like, you should understand exactly what the right answer to what he's being asked is. And the fact that they don't know this immediately off the top of their head just tells me that you guys are not serious about your faith. You're not understanding what is being proposed, and you shouldn't need to read the Bible. Like, this should be easily derivable from first principles, right? Like, some event occurred that caused all the things. Right? Like, okay, like, what does that mean for mimicry? Right. And then if there is a creator of these things, which it seems to have an intelligent layout, so therefore there must be a creator, otherwise intelligence wouldn't exist at all, by any definition. This isn't that hard. Everybody makes it. This is super easy. Then what does that mean? Right. And what does it mean for what it is you might mimic? Right. People don't, and they can't do it. And I'm like, you guys just will prefer any retard off the street whispering sweet nothings into your ear in a satanic fashion to something obvious that you should be able to figure out for yourself on your own by yourself in 4 seconds if you just thought about it carefully. But no, they want to hear the whispering of the snake. And I'm like, why are you listening to serpents? I don't understand. The guy says, like, oh, well, Jesus and the serpent in the garden are the same. And I'm like, what? I'm fairly sure that's heresy of like all of them at once or something. Like, how can you say that? And then why would you listen to somebody who ever said any such thing? And in the meantime, is emailing Foucault, of all the people in the world, emailing Foucault back and forth. Oh, do you think that was a holy union? Because unholy union of Satan inviting hell onto the planet, maybe. By maybe, I mean definitely, no doubt about it. But maybe.
Yeah, that reminds me of there's the Keith Foskey. He's a Christian Protestant evangelical guy, but his tagline is, "I hope that was a blast for them because it was certainly a blasphemy." So
what? Wow. Okay.
He throws that at people who say crazy things like Jesus and the serpent are the same or whatever. So
that's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't get it. And then there's so many commentators on everything, and they're all entranced by something. They're all following patterns of something. And I'm like, and that was the one sort of theme that came out, like the division between, the people who were there and could engage with the talks, and the people who were
Right.
there just to be there, right? Um,
Well,
because
yeah,
they're fans, right?
hmm
And then the people that were able to mediate it and knit things together, and
hmm
you know things like
I'd be
that.
interested to hear from someone how their Supra thing went,
Yeah, that would be
because
interesting.
that was the VIP thing.
That was,
Uh,
well, yeah, you didn't need to be a VIP for the second Supra,
Oh, I,
because they had two. Yeah,
oh, okay. I knew they had the VIP one. I didn't know they had another one.
yeah, they had one to open, I think, and then they had another one at the end. And anybody could buy tickets to that, was my understanding. They're like, "Do you have tickets to Supra?" And I'm like, "I'm not a VIP." And they're like, "Yeah, but you don't need. You could just buy tickets." And I was like, "Oh, well, I
Oh,
wasn't going to do that anyway." So,
yeah,
but I guess it sold out immediately, of course.
right, yeah.
So, like, yeah, that surprises me not at all. That's for the super fans, the people who
Mhm.
really like. That's the thing. Like, there's people that are able to engage and will engage, and then there's people who are there to be there, and that there's nothing wrong with that, right? It just shows you
Mhm.
the hierarchy, and which is something they don't ever talk about ever, right? They want to solve everything with subsidiarity now. I'm like, that's going to backfire big time on
Right,
you guys.
right, yeah,
Good
yeah.
luck. Good luck. I don't put me in that hole. I don't want any part of talking about subsidiarity, especially not the way you guys do. I'm out. I'm out. That's gonna backfire terribly.
Yeah,
And then
what is the right way to use that tree image?
which tree image?
Well, they do. I know Matthew Peugeot. He does it. He has the tree thing a bit
Yeah.
in his book, and I
Yeah.
know Peugeot, and I know Jonathan mentioned it with the subsidiariness.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's
And
trying to get at it a certain way, right?
right, yeah,
But the
you've got
thing
the
about the tree symbol is, how do I put this? I guess there's no good way to put this. The tree symbol is wrong. Uh, and so, um, or at least the way they map it is wrong. Because in order to fix this, you would have to map it in 3 dimensions, and you would have to map it a very specific way,
mhm,
and you can't do that in a flat image. Um, the better representations, particularly in the language of creation, are the sequences like this, right?
mhm,
Where you have a circle and then you increase the number of things in the circle, and the the up down axis in the circle is the hierarchy, or part slice of the hierarchy. That's the best way to do it. The problem with the regular tree as drawn here is that you don't actually have y the way to solve it is to make the top of the tree angels, right? But then you create a different problem. But you make the top
mhm.
of the tree angels, you make the trunk the king, and you make the roots the people, because that's correct, right? That's absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, the problem with that image is that now you've squeezed out God, and but you can put him back in Machu's image, because you can use the serpent. You can use the Ouroboros for that. Right. It becomes very like I said, the way to fix it is to make it in 3 dimensions.
Right,
So
yeah, yeah. That's
that's the problem. It's very, and so I think that I think, I hope I hope that what Jonathan's actually doing is he's trying to point at the hierarchy without using the word
mhm.
hierarchy. And there are good reasons to do that. And so I'm not, my problem is, yeah, using subsidiarity is definitely not going to work. Because all you're doing is opening everybody up to be in charge, because they already think they should be, right? The problem is that if you are critiquing something, you are, whether you like it or not, whether you're trying not to or not, you are automatically placing yourself in a position of authority, right? And you can argue, well, it's just a limited position of authority. Yeah, but you're not that authority, and that just isn't the way it works. And so don't do that.
Right. Yeah. That seems to be the thing to me, is you do the hierarchy as a pyramid, and that seems to be a better image to like make progress rather than the tree thing. So
someone did that. I don't know who. Yeah. Well, the problem is that if you want to do the cosmos, we'll say, or the world, because those are actually the same thing, even though they're different words, you would have to do two pyramids with the tips touching, right? That would, like I said, with the tree, the problem is the king's in the middle and the angels are the leaves. And then it's like, oh, well, that totally works. Like now you're not right. And then you just, like I said, you can use the Ouroboros or whatever and add back in the creator. That's fine. That works. But that if the purpose is to try to address the domicide issue by telling people about subsidiarity in the world where people are already able to critique and believe that's a valid thing to do, and are doing it publicly, because publicly is a bigger problem. I've almost got that video in my head, by the way. We'll get there. Then you're actually making everything worse. And I think that, my concern is that Jonathan Peugeot is building a bridge to the wrong place. Because not deliberately, because he doesn't understand what's happening. And I was trying to visualize it, but I couldn't. It was kind of like he's on one side building to the wrong place on the other side or something, right? And I think the problem is the bridge metaphor itself is wrong, because really what you want is multiple entry points to the bridge on one side and one exit point on the other side. And that's not what they're building.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have to be not just a dualist to do that.
Right.
You need at least
the dualist framing, I think, is betraying him. And to be fair, he doesn't use dualist framing everywhere, but he does everywhere in public. And I think that I understand the strategy and I get it. And I'm not going to say the strategy is completely wrong or anything, because a lot of people think in duality. But it might be the wrong strategy to use to large audiences. That seems very likely to me to be the case. There are ways around that, but the problem with the internet is that if you give different messages to different audiences and someone catches you, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
because they'll attack you for inconsistency.
Yeah.
Because they don't see the consistency. It's like, well, fair enough. I mean, that's why you're giving the dualistic message, because they don't have the cognitive capacity to do the nuance. And so they're stuck in a dichotomy. Fair enough, I guess. And that's the thing you're trying to solve. But also, if they're stuck in the dichotomy, then you giving two messages that lead to the same place to them is a heresy, and they're going to come after you for that. Yeah, that's the issue. So yeah, that's does that make more sense? Does that fix it in your head better, or did I make it worse?
A little bit. I'll have to think about it some more to actually get all of it. But yeah, does make more sense.
Yeah, if you encompass the creation as a tree by the creator, and you can represent that as cyclical time, it's like, that's correct. Like I can't find anything wrong with mature stuff. I tried, but I just couldn't do it. I mean, there might be something wrong there. I'm just not the guy to find it. Wow, it's really good. Yeah, and then you put the tree in the middle and you put the king as the trunk, then everything's fine, because you have a single mediator between heaven and earth, and that's
right. Yeah.
But you have to make the leaves heaven.
Sense.
Right, you have to make the leaves heaven, and you have to make the thing that supports and redeems the earth, the roots.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But then people have to start redeeming the earth, and they're really not doing that because there's a
Yeah.
bunch of evangelicals and they want to redeem everything. And I'm like, that's not how it
Hmm.
works. Like, no, your actual job is just to cultivate material, actually, right? And it's weird when Jonathan does it because I'm like, did you read your brother's book? 'Cause I don't know, man. I thought that message was pretty clear in parts of that book. That theme's everywhere. The revivification theme. So well, what's the disconnect here? I don't understand. So yeah, it is sort of what it is. It's still a wonderful book, and I just don't. There's too many ways to use it. That was a discussion that came up too, by the way. There's a lot of people out there misusing the symbolism and and I'm
Hmm.
like, hey guys, you talking about what I was talking about 2.5 years ago. That's you're a little late, but I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better
I
late
mean,
than never, I guess.
I knew they recognized it. I didn't know they'd talk about it publicly, so I'm glad they did.
Hmm. Yeah.
But the super fans will go all the way to Cleveland. Oh, it was awful. This is an old city
That
that
and
collapsed, you know? It's like Detroit, only it's not quite that bad, but also it's pretty bad.
yeah. Then there's also the identification against the Enlightenment
Oh, I know.
that
Oh,
happens.
I wanna hang myself, Christopher. I'm just like, "Why are you guys doing this?" And they're just not doing their research. They're not doing the math. It's like, "No, that's not where it starts. There's nothing wrong with the Enlightenment. That's not what's happening." So I'm curious to know what Jonathan's gonna do because I think the reason why he's talking about the Enlightenment is because that's what leads to the postmodernism. And so to
Probably. That makes
him, if
sense.
you're fixing modernism, you're fixing the Enlightenment. And it's like, well, but that's nothing to do with where the problem, like, you're way too late at that point. You're way off. Like, the Enlightenment is a response to something that
Mm.
causes all the issues. And actually, the Enlightenment, I mean, the Enlightenment's a double-edged sword, um, because the thing that creates the ability, and the need to do the myth of World War II is the same, thing that created the Enlightenment to some extent, right?
Mhm.
It's the same basic force.
And a lot of
And
what they're complaining about with the Enlightenment as with modernity, they're just complaining about materialism, I think.
yeah, I agree. I think they're using the wrong terminology completely, and they're looking for eras instead of errors, right? And then
Yes,
they
yeah.
don't. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, they don't wanna see it. I mean, I nailed Vanderklay to the wall when he was talking about the idea that the word religion didn't get used the same way in the past, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, when did that change, Paul? When did that change?" And the funny part is, you know, I knew instinctively when it changed. I was like, I will bet you all the money in the world, actually, right now, that when I look this up, it's going to be exactly the cast of characters I think it's going to be. It's going to be exactly the time frame I think it's going to be. And boy, was it ever. Zwingli and Calvin. I'm like, man, these guys, like, I don't. Why are they at the center of every evil thing? Like, I don't get it. But they are, so well, it should tell you something, I guess, unless you just want to try to redeem your reprehensible satanic ideas that are all heretical. Like, I don't know. I can't come up with another explanation. Like, I'm trying, but I can't save these people from their own idiocy. Like, you're throwing yourselves under the bus. Protestantism and the Reformation are the cause of all the bad things. It just is. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You can take a historical frame on it. You can take a philosophical frame. You can take any frame you want. and you're going to get the same bad guys coming from the same area that are doing the same bad things that we knew were bad before. And, and you got to blame the Catholics for not burning them all at the stake. Like, you should have kept going, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the thing there.
It's horrible how I'm able to predict this with such accuracy, knowing almost none of it. I didn't even know, like, you hear about the Reformation. Nobody taught any history of religion at all. Like, if religion was involved in the history, they just never mentioned any of it.
Right. Yeah.
History never made any sense to me, even though I love history, until I figured out, oh, no. Actually, history makes perfect sense once you add in religious belief, or what we would now call religious belief. And then it's all perfectly clear. Everything makes sense. Everybody's motivations become crystal clear, and everything just falls into place, and it's all super coherent in a way that seems almost comically simple, right? And it's like, oh well, that's fantastic. Like now you can see history clearly.
That's the thing that would be interesting to hear if somebody has an account of, because the U.S. being a Protestant country, you can see that it's fairly straightforward to map like the expansion of the Protestantism across here. But I haven't found it, whatever the Catholic history of it. Because in some senses they were here first with the Spanish.
Yeah, on the West Coast. Yeah. I mean,
coming farther in there.
Yeah,
but I don't know what that history. I don't know how that developed much at all. So
yeah, Colin Woodard talks about it, but he just basically, Jesuits are evil, the whole thing.
Well, yeah, he mentions it a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
With the Spanish there.
Yeah, and then says all the horrible things the Jesuits did to the natives, which, I go back to the meme about, oh no, here comes the conservative right, and it's the Aztecs killing a child on an altar.
Yeah.
Why are they interfering with our lives? It's like, well,
yeah.
You're the bad guys. That's why. Not hard.
Yeah, you read read about the Aztecs there. It totally makes sense that the conquistadors came and enslaved them and put them in the mines.
Which isn't even really what happened at all.
I mean, that's
40 men conquer thousands. No, that's ridiculous. Nothing like that happened. That's a total fantasy at some level. It's just ignoring all of the unhappy tribes that were behind him, that were perfectly happy to. The interesting thing, the thing that really is miraculous, is so the supporting tribes just surround the city. They don't go in with him. So this is why they're able to tell the story the way they are able to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
If you ignore the beginning, because there's a lot of that going on, and you do the middle out thing, you're like, oh yeah, so Cortez arrives in the main city and is welcomed by Montezuma. Yeah, because there were the hordes of all the unhappy tribes surrounding the city who absolutely refused to go in. They weren't going to cause a problem, right? And then Cortez is like, well, what's Montezuma going to do? We kind of own this place. We can do whatever we want. So it's not because the story you get told is, well, it's a superior technology, until you find out that, the superior technology was not on the side of the Westerners, like the Spaniards and stuff. They did not have superior technology. They had a bunch of burdens like horses, which were really not an advantage in a fight in the city. That is not an advantage. Right. And they had guns that took forever to reload, and they had limited ammo and limited gunpowder. These are not advantages, right? And and you get that when you get into you only learn about that really when you get into the history of the Western United States, where it's like, okay, Indians could fire arrows 10 times faster than you could fire a gun, any kind of gun, right? Until the Gatling gun comes along. But that's relatively late. The Indians still get wiped out because they're the bad guys. I don't know what to tell you. They're still the bad guys. Matt Walsh did a thing on that. I listened to part of it, and he left out a bunch of stuff. Well, actually, no, I listened to the whole thing. It was pretty good. It was just short. He left out a bunch of stuff in the beginning, of course. We're all skipping the beginning. That would have really bolstered his case quite a bit, but people don't. They never start at the beginning, and it was really good. But he was emphasizing like, oh yeah, there are certain actions people care about, like scalping. And if you don't do that to them, they will continue to do it to you, no matter what you do to them. And people don't understand that asymmetrical relationship, right? But there is an asymmetrical relationship there that has to be like accounted for. And if you don't realize that the first treaties with the Indians, and oh, by the way, there were at least 2, possibly 3 or more attempts to colonize North America, where the natives just wiped everybody out long before the Pilgrims, right? Long before the Pilgrims. If you don't realize that, you can get really confused about who was the good guys and who were the bad guys. But then once you look into the first American Indian War, or Colonial Indian War, or French Indian War, whatever you want to, I think it's French Indian War is the most common, but it's the first conflict. And the fact that there were treaties and who violated the treaties, because it wasn't the white guys who violated the treaties. I think or you don't go to like Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte, oddly enough. It's right on the border. And find out that Fort Mill was founded by a guy who was granted the land from the Indians, the Indians who didn't believe in land ownership, those Indians, the ones that because he was helping them fight off their enemies. Like you have to skip over an awful lot of really important history that you can read about. I mean, there are contemporary accounts. You can go read about them. It's not that hard, and find out what was going on. I mean, where I lived in Marlborough, Massachusetts, hysterically funny and unbeknownst to me, my house was behind the line. So I was not on stolen land, sir, at any point. The meeting house was in downtown, next to this big tree. And that was the line, like, oh, the Indians are on this side and we're on, we're east of that. So yeah, I wasn't, my house, even it was only 150 years old. But it wasn't in Indian territory. So
right.
Yeah, unless you know about all that history with the French and Indian War and King Philip, it's called King Philip's War, right? Unless you know that history, you're just gonna have a warped vision of what was going on and why it mattered and how all that came to be. And like if you don't know that the Pilgrims were invited to live in Plymouth because they needed people in Plymouth to sustain the larger colony of the Native Americans, they invited them in. That's why they gave them food and helped them out. Right? They needed them. It wasn't an optional thing. Like had they not shown up, they would have gotten wiped out by another tribe because that's what Indians do. They wipe each other out. That's why they didn't build a lasting civilization. There's a reason. So, but I think that most of the, Symbolic World Summit people, or Symbolic World people in general, are just leftists, and they think they found a way to redeem leftism. And I'm like, but leftism is just wrong, and that's the bad guys. Like, I don't know. You're still on Team Evil, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It's not that hard. Like, you just can't have that world that way. Like, you got to make some decisions. And I think they're very much, we can't go back. And I'm like, we're going to go back. The question is how. Like, and you guys are heading us for collapse. And that's not cool. Like, I don't like that idea at all. At all.
Right.
Let's pick and choose and go back carefully instead. And thoughtfully. And no one's on that. No one's on that. Everyone's just, we can't go back. I'm like, you're going to find out you're wrong. And then I had an insight today too about, because I've been pondering this infrastructure question, and it's like we're expending all of our infrastructure on building ships to other planets. And I'm like, oh, this is catastrophic. This is catastrophic. What is happening? Why are we doing this? We got the best guy ever for infrastructure, the best guy in 150 years probably. And he's building stupid rockets. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And stupid electric cars. I'm like, what? No, stop. Like build a beautiful train station. or something, like build beautiful post offices. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is horrible.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is kind of back into why people come up with the beauty will save the world thing, is because you can look at people building ugly rocket ships instead of something beautiful. And
Well, I would push back on it. I think the rockets are gorgeous. I just think they're bad. Like, because they don't, like, no one takes seriously the true, the good, and the beautiful, and the fact
right,
that
yeah,
those are separate items. They
mhm,
keep tying them together, and I'm like,
right,
no,
yeah,
you can't tie them together. Beautiful, not all
mhm,
beautiful things are good. Not all good things are beautiful, right?
mhm,
And not all true things are good, and not all true things are beautiful. Like, why is
right,
this
yeah,
confusing for people? That's why they said it's the transcendentals, and there's 3 of them, not 2, by the way. It's
yeah, yeah.
weird. It's almost like they had the Trinity before Christ or something. I don't know. It's very mysterious. I can't figure it out. I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy. It's crazy that people don't see I'm like, this is 100% clear, and it's really simple, and you're making it super complex because you wanna save a bunch of stupid technology that doesn't even work. Like, it's like, we've
mhm,
passed the number of things now, like, I I Christopher, I'm a senior network engineer, among other things. I can't conceive of how they had a multi-hour outage in the middle of the day. Like, how could you possibly break a network a network of that size that badly? That seems inconceivable to me. Like, even if you cut a cable, it wouldn't take you that long to fix it. Assuming you had a single path cable failure, which you shouldn't have in your network anyway. What on God's green earth? Like, we lost a D-slam somewhere or something. Well, fine. Like, you don't have spares. You can drive down from Charlotte. It's an hour and a half, kid. What are we talking about?
right,
Like,
yeah,
why? I don't understand this, like, at all. I'm like, there's so many failures that have to happen in a network that size, and then you did it 2 more days in a row. Like,
yeah, yeah.
this is
I mean,
inconceivable to me. I'm like, "All right, here's my method. Fire everyone and hire 3 good people, because 3 good people could run that network, no problem, would never go down again. Good luck finding the good people. I'm not
right, yeah.
available.
That
I'm
is the
retired
problem.
to do that." But also, like, what are you did none of this is hard. This is a solved problem. It's been solved for decades. Like, ridiculous. And then when we want to go to Mars, I'm like, you can't even keep my internet up, and you want to go to Mars. That's your. Oh, and interestingly, so I had Starlink in Arizona for the second
Mhm,
time. First time it was fine. It didn't work at all. There were outages. I'm like, what? Would the satellites go dark? Like, how do you have an outage on a satellite network? And then there was a bunch of technical stuff that's worked in every hotel I've ever been in that didn't work at all over Starlink. And I'm fairly sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure it worked the first time I was there. So I'm like, I don't even understand this problem. And I'm a senior network engineer, and I'm like, I'll change the MTU and we'll get under the packet limits and blah, 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 all the crazy technical stuff that I know about. None of it worked. I'm like, well, what are they blocking this type of traffic? Like, what is happening? Is the VPNs not valid? Like, I don't like what I mean, most of the VPN worked fine. Why did this part not work over the VPN when it works everywhere else in the universe? No idea. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, this is puzzling. It's the only internet I've had HughesNet and stuff. Totally works. All the stuff I normally do totally works. I don't get super fancy. I know how all the stuff works. Nope. Starlink doesn't work. I'm like, what why? I don't understand. No errors, no nothing. No one's ever seen well, a couple of people have had suggestions. I tried all the suggestions, they didn't work. I'm like, well, this is very puzzling.
mhm.
I can't be the only person that's noticed this because it's not like I'm doing something super hard, right? But no, it does not at all work. And I was like, well, it delayed me getting videos uploaded because I had to wait till I was at a hotel because the hotel internet worked
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So yeah, it was insane, completely crazy.
You know, I guess they went back, huh?
They went back. Yeah. That's what I see. I mean, you see it in computers all the time. We just lose tech left, right, and center all the time. And it's amazing to me. I'm like, and no one sees us losing tech left, right, and center. There's all kinds of things I used to be able to do with a snap of a finger. And like just printing. Believe it or not, when you had an 8-bit computer, printers worked. And they worked almost flawlessly. And maybe they were a bitch to set up in some cases, but they worked after that every time.
Right.
The number of times I've had printers reliably work since the 8-bit days is actually 0. There's no reliability there whatsoever. And I'm like, why is this hard? You're like, this is not hard. There's nothing hard about this problem at all. And the most reliable printers were the old HP printers before that Lexmark bought the HP printing division for whatever reason. And the LaserJet 3s, well, the 2s were really reliable. LaserJet 3s were awesome. The HP LaserJet 3s. But even they had reliability problems. I used to fix them all the time. So they had reliability problems too. Yeah, would just completely like printing of all the, it's probably the second most useful thing computers do is printing, right? Because it's an interface off the computer. And they can't do it.
Right.
It's impossible. On the big systems, it was fine, like the old Wang systems and the old Sun systems. Printing was a solved problem. And then after that, printing is impossible. The Microsoft printing system has bugs in it from the Windows XP days that are still there, that have never been fixed. It's a nightmare, right? And, a geek like me who's actually been there and knows what the bug is, we notice these things. No one else is going to know, oh, that bug is the same bug, and it's been in every subsequent version of Windows for no reason. There's no, you could fix it without side effects for sure, but no, they're never going to fix it. It's just never going to happen. So it's very frustrating to like see that, and then people are like, we're going to go to Mars, and I'm like, could we just maybe get back to where we were 20 years ago in tech first, and then go and they're starting to get it. Like you'll see an article occasionally like, here's because they just released the source code for I think the navigational computer on the Apollo missions.
Okay.
No one knows how to use that. No one knows. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to program it, right? Or there's one guy left who's 87 or something goofy, right? Or in his 90s or whatever, who knows anything about it. And it's like, yeah, the fact that we haven't been to the moon since the last time we went to the moon should tell you something about lost technology and whether or not we need to fix those problems. So, yeah. It's interesting. And why we haven't like been launching, robots to go build things on the moon the way we're going to have to do for Mars anyway, I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, Elon's a moron.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think he's brilliant. And I just go back and forth because the stuff he misses, it's like, dude, you have to do this anyway. You could have started doing this like 5 years ago. Why weren't you doing it 5 years ago? Like you had all the tech back then. I mean, it wouldn't have worked. I get that. But like, how are you going to collect your AI information on building things autonomously on a distant planet with no communication if you don't start on the moon 5 years ago? Like you're just putting yourself further behind on the data collection to train the AI. What are you doing? Like you should know this. I know this. Like I don't. What do you? This isn't hard.
Yeah. Who knows what?
Yeah,
people are doing.
They're gonna put a bunch of astronauts on the moon with a bunch of parts and have it assemble them. And I'm like, if you do that on Mars, you're dumber than I thought. Like, there's no reason to do that. It's a stupid idea. You've got the AIs, you've got the stupid robots. Like, what are we like? Why? There's no better use for them than that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's why he's building all the stuff to begin with. Like, I think he's doing the electric cars because he wants to figure out how to make that viable for his Mars project. I don't think he gives two hoots about electric cars on Earth where they make absolutely no sense anyway. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's the possibility that the goal is just to get people onto Mars and turn them into Martians.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
They're not going to be humans. Like, everybody misses that
Right.
fact.
Yeah.
Humans are not going to live on Mars ever. Aside from the birthing problem, you can't. A human female cannot have a Martian birth. Like, they can't go there pregnant and then have the baby. That's not going to work. So you need a new plan. And the plan has to be genetic modification. There's no other way. And I don't think we can do that. Like, I don't see a path to even doing that, but we'd have to.
Mhm.
Right. So what is the plan here? What's going on? Right. And then you
Yeah.
hear some guy like Brett Weinstein say something very suspicious, like, oh, well, we have to take control of evolution. What? Really? That's your what? Have you met the mustache dictator from the 20th century, sir? He thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why are you on Team Evil all of a sudden? I don't get it. To be fair, I don't think he realizes it's the same thing at all. I don't think he's ever thought about it once. But like, these are the people we're letting speak publicly? No, we got to shut them down. Like, you're too dumb to talk about this stuff. Talk about something you've actually thought about for 4 seconds. That
Mhm.
is not the thing to be saying. I mean, you are. This is a very old, because Mustachio Dictator was not the first one to come up with that either, right? Like, yeah, you've got all kinds of people, and then there's all kinds of bad actors like Margaret Sanger saying the exact same thing, not something similar, but the exact same thing. They're like, yeah, we're going to control who evolves basically through birth. Okay,
Right.
I guess. And maybe you're not saying the through birth part, but that's not better. Like, it's still the same. We're going to use a different mechanism. Okay, but your telos is evil, so I don't care the implementation you use to be evil. I care that it's evil. I'm a no on evil. I don't know where everybody else stands, but I'm still remain a no on the evil thing. Just in case that's not clear, because I guess that's not clear. I don't know why. It's okay if Bill Gates wants to blot out the sun. Really? Oh, just a little bit. Okay, well, if it's just a little bit, that's fine, I guess. What?
That was a thing I saw. It's a meme or whatever. I don't know. It was a basically graph on the internet, so I don't know if it's actually accurate. But it was saying that more Europeans die from heat in the summer than die from gun deaths in America. So
That would be interesting.
yeah.
Well,
It would-
you're forgetting, Christopher, that 7 children a day die from accidental gun wounds in the US, according to the Irish. And the BBC just freaking lies to everybody about everything. No wonder why they hate us. They really have a warped view of our country. 7
Well, I
children.
mean, so according to this graph of the CDC or whatever, even more people die of heat in Europe than that. So, I mean, if we're
Really?
going to be ridiculous, more people about it, we can.
Wow. That would be ridiculous.
But that's why
Yeah.
you have to blot out the sun, is to save the Europeans from their lack of air conditioning, I guess, or something.
Let me tell you the first candidates on my people I ain't ever gonna save. Yeah, I'm done with Europe. I was done years ago with Europe. Now I'm more done with Europe. I'm like extra done with Europe. Like, just get the war over with, guys. I don't have time for this. And hopefully we won't go over there. Hopefully we'll just let them do what they're gonna do, and let that burn out, wait till it's ashes, and go back and start building stuff. But, to be fair, I don't think we can because we're busy building rockets to Mars.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Did you hear so I just read this story maybe yesterday or something about how SpaceX got started?
I have not seen that.
Yeah, so Musk apparently was like, "Oh, we just need to basically do a PR campaign and help out NASA." And then he found out that no, the problem's way worse. We actually can't build rockets. So that's how he
Mm,
started building rockets. That wasn't his intention with SpaceX in the beginning at all.
right. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, how interesting." And I guess they're
Yeah.
gonna
Well.
do the stock offering, and it's gonna be a $1.5 trillion company or something. And I'm just
Mm,
like, "Man, if he passes, Rockefeller, because that'll surpass Rockefeller for sure on an
mm.
adjusted basis." Um, that's, like, how the mighty have fallen. Like, that would be terrible. Terrible. Like, that would just be awful. That would just yeah, that that's apocalypse right there.
Well, or Armageddon, but
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't and then we Ashley St. Clair is back, uh, and she looks like a mess. I'm like, "What is this? Is that really the same person? That's horrible." And then she's, like, revealing all these secrets allegedly that Elon said that sound completely implausible, and she looks like she's on drugs, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, doesn't not only does she look bad, but if she looked better, it wouldn't help because she looks all spaced out, and I'm like, "This
right,
is
right.
not." And apparently, that loses her $100 million, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, what would a woman rather have, $100 million or attention?" Attention. It's every time. People don't get it. Humans are not as greedy as you think. Maybe if you think humans are greedy, you're greedy. That seems more likely.
Yeah, probably.
That seems way more likely to me.
Yeah.
But the other stuff you
Done.
missed kind of at the summit was just all the people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I saw your talk with Mitchu, and it was great." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
cool."
I heard about that. So
Well, yeah, everyone else didn't because they weren't on my Discord server. So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. I mean, I should reach out to a couple people like Derek Fiedler and stuff and say, "Hey, you wanna do a talk? Like,
Right.
let's
Right. Yeah.
chat." Um, yeah, and then hopefully I get a couple people on the hook to come on. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Gotta get back in touch with everybody, and of course, it's a problem because now in a week I'll be on the Cape, and that sort of
Right.
screws up
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
week. It'll have to be the second week of June at the earliest. So yeah, that's my new mission is to get all that lined up, and I have a dozen other things that I have to do too, of course. So, but it's a mess. But it was a good. I like the ideas that they had around getting people together,
Mhm.
even if I didn't particularly care for some of the execution like that. But it's a hard problem to solve, I think, too. Like, I don't
Mhm.
it's a non-trivial issue. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the idea of seeing if we can get some practices started. Right? Is helping some of
I
that out.
yeah, I need to sit and work on the practices. That may be what I do on vacation. That may be my primary thing on vacation is just go and work out the
Mhm.
practice steps. Because I think somewhere in my brain, there's an outline. And, unfortunately, I haven't seen Manuel lately. He has way more stuff on that I don't even have access to. I'm
Oh
like,
wow. Yeah.
"Oh, yeah." He was the master at running practices, so he was very into practices. Um,
Mhm.
because that's what helped him,
Yeah.
right? So, Of course he was, but like he is so good at running practices. It's nuts. Like it's unbelievable. He's just an excellent facilitator of a certain type for certain types of practices.
Mhm.
So, what's this troublemaker? Sally Joe M. Cooper. We could sell an Armageddon book. Apocalypse books are always very popular. Well, she's not wrong. We could
Well,
do
I mean,
a symbolic interpretation of Elon Musk and Armageddon or something.
well, that's the thing. Everybody's gets apocalypse wrong because they think it means Armageddon when it just means revelation.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
get that wrong all the time.
But I think we're headed for Revelation and not Armageddon. But I don't want to think we're headed for Armageddon. That's like even if you waste 2 or 3 generations of money. Oh wait, 5 generations. Is it 5? I think it's 5. 5 generations of money on not cathedrals.
Mm,
I mean, maybe you get Armageddon 5 generations after that or something, right? Like, because of the momentum, you
mhm.
know? And that's the other thing I gotta work on. I gotta work on this animation idea that I have and see if the animation tools are any better. Oh, I got a tip on animation tools. Higgsfield? I think it's called Higgsfield. I gotta check that out. Um, yeah, Higgsfield is the new animation coolness. So maybe I can have it do some or all of my animation
That
work.
would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one that I think I've got an outline that can do, um it can do how power works. When people are talking about power, what they're talking about. I think and
Mhm.
it starts with a pyramid, Christopher, you're gonna love it. Starts with a pyramid.
Good. Yeah.
And you're also gonna love the fact that the next 2 Fridays, I will release videos. They will be cut down monologues. We have one of
Cool.
them
Great.
already.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't scheduled it yet, but I'll schedule it. And then we just have to find one more, and that'll be done before I leave. So the 2 Fridays will get covered, and then I
Yay.
already have a Tuesday video for next week, and I need one more. And I want to do at least one more. I want to do 2 more, but we'll see. And if I don't get one more, I've got the clip about Lauren Southern. So I'll either have 2 releases and a Friday release on 1 week, or I will just release that after or something. Or maybe next, I don't know. Whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever happens. We'll see what the schedule holds. So
Yeah.
so many talking points, so little paper, according to yes. Well, that's always the problem. Uh yeah. So many AIs. I wanna train an AI to be a good critic of certain logical fallacies and stuff. But Gemini did such a good job without being prompted. I'm like, "Oh, well, that's not bad." I mean, I think it missed some stuff, but
I mean, probably did. I'm sure.
the stuff about Moby Dick, I'm fairly sure I'm right about that, but I have to go back through it, so I have to listen to the
Mhm.
talk again. I just haven't sat down and listened to it again, and I gotta listen to Richard Rowland's talk again too. Like, I have to do both those things, and I haven't done them yet. So I've just been tied up with other nonsense. So, just shows what I care about most.
Yes. That was a point there. The non-binary. You have to care about like the 3 things
Yeah.
because
Well, and there's 3 expressions, and you have to right? Everything is not positive or negative. There's always, like, a neutral state, right?
Mhm.
And, yeah, just getting that through to people is so hard. Uh, people get really caught up. We had the Bitcoin call today, which I obviously haven't been making, and, man, they were totally confused because Bitcoin is not moving anymore. I guess it's stuck in a range or something.
Mm.
And it's very low, right? It's not at 120,000 anymore. It's like at 80 or 77 or something goofy.
Mm.
And they were like, "We don't understand." And I'm like, "Well, do you want a currency or do you want an investment tool? You can't have both." Like currencies can move up and down. They're not currencies anymore. Like this isn't that hard. We know this from South America. And if you studied any economics out of South America ever, you would know this. Like this is not, and yeah, and they didn't understand clearinghouses and how money moves, above the retail market. And I'm just like, this is why you guys are confused. It's just a very understanding money flow is difficult. Like, and you haven't studied it at all. Like, you haven't even bothered to think about how it works. You're just like, oh, currency is just something you exchange for something else. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not what's happening there. And currency is such a tiny part of the economy, by the way. Who cares, right? It's just a scorecard. What's actually going on is much more complicated than that. So
Mhm.
it's a mess. But it's amazing how many people get it wrong. And they're mad at me. I'm like, why? Because I know more about this than you do? Is that because I worked at a bank and a bunch of banks and now I understand a bunch of things that do me no good whatsoever, but I felt I had to understand them at the time because I had a client. I needed to know how to service the client.
Mhm.
I mean, even Ag First, when I worked down here at Ag First, I didn't know anything about banking monopolies. We have 3 bank monopolies in the United States. I was like, what do you mean a banking monopoly? You can't do that. Banking is the most heavily regulated industry in the United States. You have 3 banks that have no competition in 3 regions of the US. What? Why? This is amazing. And probably necessary, right? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think they're right. Like, you have to do this. And that supports all the agriculture, like, in the country, like all of it for real. I'm just like, oh,
Okay,
well,
yeah.
yeah, you probably need a monopoly there. That totally makes sense. You just break it up into 3 parts. That makes sense too, because you don't want one monopoly, right? So
Yeah. Good.
fair enough. Fair enough. And then they service a whole set of banks that only ag people have access to.
Mm.
Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
There's a whole set of banks that are basically banks for farmers and ranchers. That's it. That's all they do. And they have totally different mortgage rates for everything. Their rates are totally different. They have no bearing on the rates that you and I get.
Mhm.
It's crazy. I was like, what is this? This is awesome. So, and you just can't keep track of it. The world is so big. The economy is
Mhm.
such a large beast. There's so many moving parts. Things work in very unexpected ways. Things like asset clearinghouses. It's like, what? And margin calls work very unexpectedly. That talk's available online too, I think, on Crouch's Corner.
Mm.
So yeah, if you're ever I think he released it already. He might release it this weekend. I don't know. But yeah, he's been releasing those talks on YouTube. I'm like, well, I'm all over YouTube. I'm all kinds of YouTube places. What's going on? So yeah, the world is hard and it's complicated.
Mhm.
And it pays to know what people are actually caring about, right? That's really the theme for the day here.
And well, you should care more about the what people who are close to you care about than people who are far away from you care about.
Yeah,
Because you could participate with them more. And
yeah, that's the problem. So I don't know. I think we'll shut it down, Christopher. What do you think?
sounds good. We can do.
How do you want to wrap it up? And then I'll wrap it up, and then we'll say goodbye to our lovely audience, such as they are.
Yeah, well, you should pay attention to what you and others care about and pay attention to the important things so that you and other people can be better.
I like it. I like especially the be better part of that
Yeah.
equation. That sounds very thematic of the channel. Uh,
Hmm.
and why should you be better?
Because the world needs you. So
There you go. Excellent. Yeah, look, I mean, the whole, well, not the whole purpose, but the primary purpose of this particular topic was to try to add enough information to people to get them to think about, well, what do you care about? And the way to know that is not to ask yourself the question in your head or something stupid. It's to look at where you're spending your time, energy, and attention. Because the stupid things you tell yourself in your head are typically fantasies you're telling about yourself. That's your residual self-image in the matrix. It's the same thing, right? And that's tied up in your personal private perspective. But your personal private perspective you can't see yourself clearly. And so, you need that cognition. You need help from outside, right? We outsource our sanity, all of that stuff. And so because we do that, it's important for people to recognize, oh, this is what we're doing, and this is why it's important, right? And you can do that with yourself, and you can do that with others, and you can help others to do that for themselves. All right, they can help you do that for yourself. And once you sort of understand what people actually care about instead of what they tell you they care about, maybe somebody who cares more about injecting everybody with shots, whether they're tested or not, is not the kind of person you want to believe when they say, well, I care about humanity. Do you, though? Do you? I've got questions, right? These are what I would call easy tells. But if you're not paying attention, if you're not contrasting what people say with what they do, with their actions in the world, then you won't see the inconsistency, and you'll have no choice but to either believe them or disbelieve them and insert your own inferences or your own narratives or your own little stories. And that's not healthy, because that's a conspiracy at that point, because the odds that you have enough information to do that are tiny. There are some exceptions to that rule, but A, you need skill, B, you need experience, and C, you need certain types of information that are prioritized over others. And maybe someday I'll be able to do all those freaking live streams. That's like 4 live streams. But for now, just try to be better, right? Try to figure out, oh, I need to be better, right? Oh, I'm part of the world, and therefore the world needs me, and I can make the world better just by being better. And that's all the world really, needs from me, we'll say. And the way to do that is to figure out what I care about and what the people around me care about, so that once we're all done, we'll say, caring, we have a better place to be in. And you can't do that if you care more about your freaking cocaine than you care about the relationships in your life, which is very common, or alcohol, right? Or being right, right? Or avoiding other people because other people suck and they're a mess. Your own personal comfort over making the world better and making yourself better.
That's another thing. Comfort is not a virtue. So
comfort is not a virtue, right? and sometimes caring about yourself and the world means having the hard thing and keeping it into yourself, right? And discerning when to do that and when not to do that is the hard part. I get that. Discernment is always the hard part. But yeah, sometimes, as Jordan Peterson says, you should be the guy that people can cry on their shoulder at the funeral. Absolutely. But not all the time, because you can't do it all the time. And that's the thing, is your ability to withstand stuff, and also your ability to signal what you care about by having a good cry, man. I mean, a lot of things in life are laugh or cry situations, and people get them backwards way too often. Like, no, you shouldn't laugh about that one. That's a weeping moment right there.
Right.
And knowing when to do things publicly, right? And when to go cry on your own by yourself where no one can see you. That's a thing. It's probably not good to do all the time, do one or the other, though. So,
right.
Again, it's all about discernment. And the reason why I did this is because I care that people don't understand care, and that they're substituting the word love in many cases when they should just use the word care. So hopefully
Oh
you
yeah,
guys
that was
found this
the
helpful, right?
yeah,
Hopefully.
that was the love thing was the other father guy who did the Talk and Spollock World had
Father
the
Trenum?
mention. Yes, that guy. He had there was this like uh list of steps for like progressing with your life and faith, whatever. And there was like 33 of them.
Mm,
And the last one was love.
yeah,
Because that's how, that's how like complicated people or complex rather that the idea of love is for when you like finally achieve that level of understanding of things. So
exactly. Exactly. And
that
that is the problem. It's a complex issue. And that's why we
mhm,
equivocate on the word love and we use it so many
right.
different ways. But caring is, we'll say, more
Yeah.
important a word to use because it's more precise. And that's
Mhm,
most often what people mean when they say love.
yeah.
And once you have a reasonable, simple, easy definition, as I outlined here, it, the world just starts to be easier for you, right? Like you can be less anxious,
Yeah.
and
You
that's
can be
that's
better.
the
So
important
at that
takeaway.
point.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, all right, everybody, have a good night. I will see you in 3 weeks on a Friday. I will be releasing videos in the meantime, so check them all out, catch up on stuff, whatever you need to do. There's a lot of good stuff here. The model videos in particular are good. I'm going to do another, I think, one more master model video with updated slides. I don't know when that's going to be because we're on the road and we're trying to do a bunch of stuff in between. And it's summer, so it's a good time to be in New England. It's the best time to be in New England. Every other time in New England sucks. Uh, so, uh, everybody, take care of yourself and each other. Be better, right? Because the world needs you, and all the world needs from you is to be better, and that will make the world better. You don't have to like solve the meaning crisis for yourself, or find beauty. And be well.